Good afternoon. How are you doing today? We are here chilling out, or should I say I'm here chilling out with my little friend Mr. G. What are you doing, Mr. G? Is your foot better now? His foot's the swelling's all gone down, so he's all right now. What's happening? Well, today I drove to town to take care of some personal admin, and then I met a friend in the coffee shop, and I want to tell you a story. So what's my story today? I have two stories actually. Two stories. So I was sitting with my friend, who you could say studying at university, a bit like what is it they're studying? Like kind of like psychology of accepting, getting along with each other, things like that. And for me, fascinating. You know, I know Maslow's theory of hierarchy. I studied that for many times in different subjects. And you know, the basic needs, survival needs are food and water, or sorry, water and then food, shelter, and after the basic physical needs, you need to know that you're loved, cared about, and then there's social needs where you have friends and feel like your friends care about you. So we talked about that, and then we talked about, you know, my friend asked me some questions and had like a chart that they were doing and asked me questions and how do I deal with things and things like that, and I explained, and they said, do you get angry? I said, I used to get angry, get very angry, and then maybe I'd get a bit physical, but then I taught myself not to do that. And now, you know what I do if somebody betrays me? I don't say anything. I just don't talk again. You know, once you get past the line, there's no point in talking. So I say, what's the point of talking to somebody who doesn't listen in the first place? So I just leave it alone, right? That's me. And we kept talking. Anyway, here's the two stories. I'm going to save the juicy one for the last. The first story is about a lady who was a university professor. She was teaching a subject, which I don't know what it is, and but she had a couple of students who weren't doing well in class, and they also never called her teacher. You know, in Thai culture, it's very important to call people by the right name to show respect. Okay, so professor, like if it's one lady calling an older lady, you say P, which is a form of respect. And these students never respected this teacher, didn't call her teacher, didn't call her anything, you know, to do with respect. And when it come time to the end of the end, they were about to fail their university course. So one by one, they went to the university teacher and asked if they could at least get a D plus and not an F, because an F is a fail. So if they got a D minus or D plus, they could still pass. And she thought about it. She goes, you know, they're rude, they don't talk to me nicely, and their grades are poor, they didn't really behave nicely. But she thought about it, and she talked to some friends, consulted, you know, a peer. And in the end she decided, I'm going to give them the grade. So they passed. They got a pass grade. So what happens? The reason they got a bad grade is because they didn't pay attention, they didn't care, etc., etc. So when they found out they passed, they all go out drinking and get drunk. Trouble is, they get on one scooter and come back together, three of them. And on their way back, a truck hit them and killed all three instantly. So, is that karma working or not? But here's the ultimate. The lady was then accused by the students' parents that if you didn't give them the pass grade, they wouldn't have gone out and got drunk and they wouldn't have got hit by that truck. So for her, she went against her consciousness, or conscience, and give them the grade. They go out and do what they always done, get drunk and party, and they got killed. But the parents blamed her instead of standing up saying, you know, the first thing I thought of is, why didn't the parents take responsibility and say, raise their child not to think about going out and partying, and if you're at university, do what you're supposed to be doing and get a good grade. That was my first thing. You blame somebody who you disrespect and then tries to help you. I'm like, oh my God. That's one story. And there's the one I told my friend this story. I was living in America, and my doctor, I didn't really have a doctor at that point, but I heard about this guy, and I needed a minor operation that you could do in a surgery, well, like a doctor's practice, okay? And this, I can tell you his name because you know, you can't put two and two together, and he'll never watch it. So his name was Dr. Vu. He's from Vietnam, but he spoke perfect English, so I presume he was his parents were from Vietnam or something. Didn't really hear you know, the V and W and TH problem. So anyway, he was a medical doctor, and I had an appointment to meet him, and for this minor operation, and I got a phone call one day because I was supposed to go the next day, and they said, Dr. Vu's had some personal problems. Can we reschedule your appointment? I said, sure. They said for about a week. I said, okay, sure, no problem. Because, you know, it wasn't important what I was going to go see him about. So I think at that point I never actually met the guy. But then I found out what the problem was, the personal problem. What it was is he had a son who loved music and he wanted to be a guitar player, play in the band and something, or be like an artist. And Dr. Vu said, no, I want you to be a doctor. And the young guy said, no, I want to be a musician. And Dr. Vu said, no, you're going to be a doctor. You know, in Asian culture, things are a little bit different. So what happened? He committed suicide. The young boy, I think he was 17 years old, committed suicide and died, passed away. So Dr. Vu had to deal with that. So I found out about this like 3 or 4 days before I went to see him. And I went there, and I think I was like the first appointment of the day when he first come back. And he said, I'm very sorry for making you wait. I said, Dr. Vu, I heard what happened, and I don't mind waiting. I'm very sorry to hear your sad news. And I said, you know, I don't remember the whole story because it was like 7 or 8 years ago. But anyway, he just, basically I think he just told me what happened. You know, and I didn't really know this guy, and he's a doctor and I'm not. And he's kind of tiny and I'm not. So I sat there listening to him tell the story, and I was filling up. You know, I was getting teary-eyed listening to his story. So I just stood up and said, Dr. Vu, I want a hug. So I hugged him. But I didn't just hug him like a quick hug. I held him like a father would hold his son. And I held him for quite some time. And he didn't flinch and I didn't flinch. We just stood there. And I said, we parted, and I looked at him in his eye and said, I'm very sorry what happened. And then he changed the subject and we got down to business and so on and so on. But I don't think I went back to see him after I went back to see him for the minor operation, and then after that I didn't go back. I didn't see him. I seen somebody else like the third time. But I just felt for the guy, you know. But the moral of the story, it's like Dr. Vu maybe should have listened to the son more. And my friend who's studying this course said, basically the course is, the problem's not in the person you're dealing with, the problem is inside of you. find the problem inside of you, which then can solve the problem that's the conflict between the two people. So my friend has a friend who's a lady, and she was actually the university professor that I told you about. She's not a professor anymore. She has a company, and she has a son who's 16 years old. And before that, you know, she's a professor, a mom of a 16-year-old boy who's the youngest, I think. So she knows everything about everything and didn't listen to the son. But this lady who was the professor is now on this course, right? And so talked to my friend and told the story that she practiced what she learned in this class with her son, and asked the son to tell her how he's feeling, but never said a word. And afterwards asked the son, what do you think of your mom today after sitting here listening to you? And he said, I love you, Mom, or words to that effect. And then she said, was I a good mother before this conversation? And he said, no. I would say you were not a good mother. You didn't sit and listen to me. You always had an opinion. You didn't want to hear what I had to say. So this lady, with my friend, sat and cried because she knew that her son thought she was a bad mom. She's not a professor now. She has a factory that sells something to do with glass. I don't really know what it is. Glass bottles or glass. I don't know what it is, but she's her mother's from China. So the mom complains about all the children. So, you know, wait till your mother gets home. So the grandmom tells the mom, and the mom's supposed to come home and take care of everything. But she was actually on the verge of a breakdown. And then what happens is she, like, I guess she's on her own. But she, you know how men and women, like a married couple, will have a date night and get a babysitter and go out and be by themselves, so they don't have the responsibility of being a mom or dad, or just go out and be with the lady or man you married. So now she goes out on her own once a week and doesn't care about nothing, just leaves everybody behind and takes care of herself. And she learned to do that because she was on the verge of a nervous breakdown before. So is there a moral of the story? Listen to each other. Love more. I think if you have love, compassion, empathy, etc., 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 you'll see these things. But maybe we get so busy today that we miss these things. I'm sure that lady's going to be a better mother now because she'll learn to listen to her son. But Dr. Vu can't do that. You know, he's got that scar forever. So I asked my friend, what would you tell Dr. Vu now? If you were giving Dr. Vu advice, what would you say to him? And you know what she said? Couldn't talk and started crying. She says, I can't answer that question. But before it's too late, love somebody. Spend time with somebody. Give somebody an ear. And I want to say this. Thank you guys for your being here and the comments you leave. This morning I got some amazing comments again. Somebody said I subscribed a few days ago, a week ago or something, and watched a random 20 videos and said, I'm going to be here a long time. I like your gentleness, calmness, etc., etc. I'm like, I'm just me, warts and all, and care about you guys. And I know you care about me because when I got sick, the things you said. So, gangsters. I'm going to sign off. Hug somebody. Look after yourselves. Buckets of blessings. Rivers of peace, joy, and kindness. See you in the morning. All the best, guys.